One and all present here. We'll be starting the session exactly at 11. We'll be starting the session exactly at 11. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar once rightly said, if you believe in living a respectable life, you believe in self-help, which is the best help, which perfectly fits our theme for today, Atmanirbhar India. Good morning to one and all present here. I, Melcy Mona Matthew, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, St. Joseph's Degree and PG College, heartfully welcome you all for the Day 2 webinar on Reforms for Sustaining India's Growth, the Post-COVID-19 World, organized by St. Joseph's Degree and PG College and Andhra Mahila Sabha Arts and Science College in collaboration with National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise. I take this privilege to welcome our resource persons for today, our enthusiastic participants and my dear colleagues. Thank you for joining us this morning. Yesterday I was clever, so I changed the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Amidst this pandemic, we have positively accepted many changes in our daily living. So we hope to gear up for the further dynamic changes and dynamic outlook. Coming to today's schedule, we will be having two technical sessions by members of NIMSME. This institute aims to foster the progress of micro, small, medium enterprises in India under the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. As it's rightly said, small businesses are the backbone of any economy. Before we start off with our session, I would give you an overview of yesterday's session by Mrs. Usha ma'am. Ma'am actually spoke about economic growth, economic development, economic factors such as technological progress and human resources, infrastructure and natural resources. She spoke about what all India is actually blessed with and what we can work forward to enhance India. She also spoke about competitive advantage in India, that is, India as young and growing population. It also has 30% of growing population who are ready to enter the workforce. Ma'am also said that India is the second largest labor force. She spoke about technological benefits such as India has mass forums to express our views, let it be in and around the world. Also, ma'am spoke about connectivity revolution, which is the most important aspect of today's India. Also, she spoke about how technology will help rural India to work on par with urban India. So today's schedule is we have two technical sessions. The first session will be by Mr. K. Suryaprakash Gaur. Over to Savita ma'am for profile reading.
Good morning, one and all. It is my privilege to introduce today's resource person for technical session 2, Mr. K. Surya Prakash Gaur. Sir holds a master's degrees in plastic engineering. His subject specialization and area of expertise includes design, development and processing of engineering plastic, project management, quality assurance, cluster development and entrepreneurship. Sir has organized national and international training programs focusing innovation, entrepreneurship, skill development, cluster development, lean manufacturing, and public-private partnership. He has involved in promotion and development of more than 150 industrial, handloom, and handicraft cluster across India. He also provided guidance and support to more than 50 programs. He also played an active role in publication of news bulletins, innovative technologies, and MSMB cluster news. Sir has two article publications and presented three papers at national seminars. He has attended six trainings on national level and has experience in consulting for different organizations in the domain of Khadi Village. Some of the prestigious projects he was involved with are schemes of refund for regeneration of traditional industries, micro and small enterprises cluster development program, assistance to training institution, counseling, retraining and redeployment scheme, Khadi reforms, development programs, and Prime Minister Employment Generation Program. We welcome you, sir. Over to Milsey.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of our NIMSME family, I congratulate the management, faculty, and students of Andhra Mahila Sabha and St. Joseph Degree College. And I also thank organizers for inviting me and my colleague, Dr. Vijaya, to be part of this very important seminar. In this particular session, I'm going to brief you about NIMSME, its genesis and activities, and what we are doing for MSME development. So, NIMSME stands for National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. It's a Government of India organization under Ministry of MSME, Government of India. So the institute was established in the year 1960 at Delhi with the recommendation of third working group for to set up this particular institute. It was named as Central Industrial Extension Training Institute. And afterwards, in 1962, the institute was shifted to Hyderabad and it was renamed as Small Industry Extension Training. So that is the reason the institute is known for CET Institute. So today across the country, especially all the professors and industrialists, they name it as a CET Institute. So many of faculties and entrepreneurs are trained by this particular institute. And afterwards, this institute got national status and it is renamed as National Institute of Small Industry Extension Training in the year 1984. But after globalization, when Government of India has taken initiatives and classified small industries into three categories: micro, small, and medium enterprises, NIMSME has played a vital role in defining the MSME and also giving importance for service sector. So till that particular period, there was no focus on service sector enterprises. So after MSMED Act in 2006, the institute is renamed as NIMSME, National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. And since 2006, it is named as NIMSME. And coming back, we closely work union ministries as well as state governments. So almost all the state government officials and union ministries, senior officials were trained by this institute. Actually, the institute, when it was established at the beginning, so all the officers were trained by NIMSME to promote entrepreneurship in the country. And I'm very happy to inform you that this is a institute is considered as a mother institute for entrepreneurship in the country. This is the first entrepreneurship development institute in the country. So there is a well-known experiment called it as a Kakinada experiment. I hope most of the professors might be knowing about this particular intervention. So our faculties trained fisher families at Kakinada and helped them to become entrepreneurs. So whatever inputs were given in the particular intervention, afterwards it was refined by many other agencies, organizations, and started conducting entrepreneurship development programs. with the different durations, maybe 1 day, maybe 3 days, maybe 1 year, 1 month or 3 months. So at NIMSME, we regularly conduct training programs. So awareness programs we conduct for 2 to 3 days, whereas for officers and entrepreneurs, we conduct for 2 to 3 months also. And coming back, we have very strong network with industry associations, incubation centers located at technical and management institutions across the country. And you also know the institute is having very good reputation at the national level and got opportunity to work with international agencies like UNIDO, ILO, ODO, and GIZ. And so far, we have trained more than 10,000 executives of various developing countries. We have reached around 150 countries so far. And we basically work in the area of research, training, and consultancy, as well as information, education, and extension. So that is the reason we have particular centers in the institute and related to intellectual property rights, cluster development, as well as GST. So which is today very, very important, right? Exclusive centers are there and we support MSMEs through these centers. And since beginning, we are also focusing on technology. So this is an institute known for organizing technology-based entrepreneurship development program. And if you take some of the important interventions of this particular institute, the institute has played vital role to set up district industry centers across the country. So whatever you see today, wherever you go, so you can find the structure. I mean to say the construction of the building. It is similar across the country, and this particular intervention played vital role for regional development and industrialization across the country. Similarly, this institute has also taken up several other initiatives as per the demand from time to time. So this institute also helped the government in policy interventions. And if you see just now, our colleague has mentioned about the scheme called Prime Minister Employment Generation Program. So when the union government implemented this program, it was called as Prime Minister Employment Program, PMRY, Rozgar Yojana. So there was just project cost of 1 lakh only. But NIMSME has taken initiative after studying the scheme, and it was renamed as PMEJP, and project cost increased from 1 lakh to 25 lakhs for manufacturing enterprises and 10 lakhs for service sector enterprises. So we also involved in policy interventions. Similarly, this institute has taken a very good initiative to identify and inculcate skills for unemployed youth. So till 2000, we were focusing more on theoretical inputs for the participants. When we found there is a need for skill development, and we have recommended to the government, especially Ministry of MSME and also other ministries like Ministry of Food Processing and Ministry of Labor and Employment, and started conducting skill development programs at our campus. And we have taken initiatives to conduct programs along with entrepreneurship skill development. So that is the reason we regularly conduct entrepreneurship and skill development programs at our campus. So, you know, innovation is need of the hour, and NIMSME has taken initiative almost 2 decades ago, and we have supported large number of entrepreneurs to improve their process and product designs from as per the requirement and sustain in the market with their products. And I'm very happy to inform you, we are working across the country for development of clusters, MSME clusters. So everybody knows India is known for handlooms and handicrafts. Wherever you go, any district, you have either handlooms or handicrafts. We are working across the country for development of MSME clusters. We have Khadi clusters, we have coir clusters. We also have crafts like the silver jewelry. We have food processing clusters like honey processing, etc. So we also work very closely with the social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, and other development agencies and freelance consultants in promoting services to provide services for MSME clusters. And we also have exclusive center, Intellectual Property Facilitation Council Center, and through particular center, we help MSMEs for patent registration and also to research for their requirements from time to time. And we also work closely with industry associations, and we help to strengthen these associations also, for which, with the support of German organization GIZ, we have taken up capacity building programs. At the initial stage, we have supported more than 10 associations in southern states. Afterwards, we have conducted several other seminars, workshops across the country. At the same time, we also have livelihood business incubator at our campus. We train unemployed youth, women for skill building, and which will help them to take up entrepreneurship and sustain on their own. Coming back, when we talk about MSMEs, there are several challenges. Though government is taking several initiatives, there are challenges for MSME sector, irrespective of the time. So we also try to understand time to time what is the problems of MSME sector. So in this regard, we continuously conduct research along with education institutions like you, and whatever we get the result out of the research, we submit to our ministry and other development agencies to take up some interventions. So as a part of that particular intervention, so only earlier we have set up exclusive programs for our technical engineers to conduct entrepreneurship development program. Similarly, for regional development, we have taken initiative and set up industrial estates across the country. And also, we have set up one good documentation center at our campus. Even researchers across the country, they visit our center and take important information from the particular center. Apart from this, I'm very happy to inform you, we have taken several initiatives, out of which we have conducted a training program even for civil servants in the year 1990, right? So similarly, we regularly conduct training programs for economic services officers also, civil servants, from time to time based on the requirement, and which will really help the officers to take policy initiatives and also take to the government several other initiatives. And we also work closely with public sector undertakings for not only for improving their business, not only to train their manpower, their workforce, but also help entrepreneurs to link with them to get the business. So you know very well now through procurement policy, so MSMEs are getting opportunity to work with PSUs, and they can supply products to the even small entrepreneurs can supply their products to the large industries. And you know, today small enterprises also face a lot of challenges regarding payments. So we also conduct several seminars, workshops related to delayed payments, and encourage small enterprises to build capacity, their capacity, and take this matter to the policymakers, and also to discuss with the state governments to solve their challenges. And we also closely worked with the Ministry of Social Justice for various categories of people to improve their livelihoods. So we have worked in Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana, and we have taken up some interventions for community development. Similarly, we also conducted several training programs. We call it as retraining, redeployment, and training, CRR, counseling, retraining, and redeployment. So all the employees who were retired or voluntarily retired from PSUs were trained to take up entrepreneurship through this particular institute. And not only at the campus, but also conducted several programs across the country and helped even rationalized employees to take up entrepreneurship. And another important intervention in the 2004, as I mentioned, the cluster development. So we have set up National Resource Center for Cluster Development. We trained officials of our own Ministry of MSME and also other organizations like Khadi and Village Industries Commission, Choir Board, and financial institutions plays vital role. And we have taken initiatives and trained bank officials also for cluster financing. And we have trained several professors from engineering and management colleges on cluster development to work as a support agencies for the clusters across the country. So this is very brief about our institute, and we have strong linkages with various industry associations across the country. If you take in Tamil Nadu, I'm just seeing some of the participants from Tamil Nadu. We work with the TANSIA very closely. Similarly, Karnataka, we work very closely with CASIA, and we have several other institutions even in the North India from Uttar Pradesh, right? And you might have heard very recently, government of Uttar Pradesh, they have taken a very good initiative, one district, one product, right? So in this particular project also, we are supporting government of Uttar Pradesh to understand the requirements of artisans and building their capacities and creating infrastructure for sustenance of their business. So with this brief about our institute, I'll throw some light as an academic institution, as a management institution, what you can do and how you can intervene and how you can I can associate with NIMSME. So if you see MSMEs need capacity building, so you can be part of several training programs which we conduct at the national level. So we invite all the colleges whenever possible. You can take time and visit our institute. You can interact with our faculty and join us whenever we conduct either skill training programs or management programs across the country. So today without product improvement, process improvement, nothing can be done, right? You cannot sustain in the market, you cannot compete in the market. So that is the reason we regularly conduct awareness programs and also implement projects for competitiveness. So we regularly conduct seminars, workshops on FIRES, Kaizen, and lean manufacturing. And also you can be part of business development service provider. With this your expertise, you can take up consultancy assignment and you can work in the clusters wherever you are. Within your region, there may be several clusters where maybe NIMSME or other organizations are working. If you take, I'm looking at Karnataka, Tamil Nadu here, participants list, and even Delhi. So we are working at Punjab, right? We are working at Uttar Pradesh, several districts. We are working in Jharkhand, Bihar, and similarly Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, etc. So wherever we are implementing the projects, you can associate with NIMSME, our line departments called KVIC, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, Choir Board, state governments, and be part of these particular interventions. So in that process, you can also help your students also to join MSMEs in the entrepreneurship development. And another thing is you can set up livelihood business incubation centers at your campus, and our ministry is implementing a scheme called Aspire. So through which either a skill related to skills or livelihoods, you can set up this incubation center. So we have livelihood business incubator as well as technology incubation center, TBI or LBI you can establish. And also very importantly, you can also do research. So if you see very recently, my colleague will be going to give more inputs related to interventions of Government of India on COVID-19. So, but I'll take only one area, cluster development. Our Ministry of MSME wants to promote more than 800 clusters in this particular financial year. So there is a huge opportunities for you also to be part of this particular intervention as a service provider. So you can involve your faculties, your students, and also work in cluster development. And another important area is there are several organizations. So your network at the national level will really help policymakers what education institution can do for improving business of MSMEs. Because unless otherwise you give inputs, your participation is not there, so definitely there will be the gap. So our perspective and your perspective will be different, and both are very much required for the industry, right? And your participation will really help, not only for government but also industries. And another important area is you can take up seminars, workshops, especially you can organize hackathons across, and inviting different institutions and help industries to get solutions for their challenges. So COVID-19 has given a lot of challenges for the enterprises. So they don't have raw material, they have finished product, but there's no marketing, and there are so many migrant workers, they're left to their native places. So at native place they're available. At the same time, earlier wherever they were working, their industries in the particular area are facing challenge because of manpower. Similarly, social distance is another challenge. So the logistics, supply chain management is very crucial. So even you can also be part of that particular intervention. So if any of the institution, either if you are organizing any programs related to the food processing, you can work with Ministry of Food Processing, and there is a lot of schemes related to supply chain, and you can also dovetail those schemes with Ministry of MSME and guide your students, your professors, and be part of MSME development. With these few words, I'll take leave, and I'll invite my colleague, Dr. Vijay, to take over. Thank you so much.
Over to Savita ma'am to do the profile reading of Dr. Vijaya.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Good morning, ma'am. It is my privilege to introduce our resource person, Dr. E. Vijaya, working as a faculty member and administrative in charge at National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Hyderabad. Her areas of expertise includes financial management, SMB, international finance, and entrepreneur development. Dr. Vijaya has published 4 books and 7 papers in national and international journals. She presented 11 papers in national and international conferences at reputed institutions such as IIT Kharagpur, IIM Bangalore, IIT Madras, ABS Singapore. She has organized various national and international executive development programs in the area of finance, accounting, and taxation. As a representative from Ministry of MSME, GIO, Dr. Vijaya attended 15 days international training program at Jakarta and Bandung, Indonesia, and 3 national levels training programs. She is in charge for Entrepreneurship Development Center and GST Cell to support MSMB in creating awareness of MSMB schemes, form registration, DPR preparation, and other consulting services. We welcome you, madam.
Thank you, madam. Good morning to all professors, faculty members, students, and also the research scholars from the Andhra Mahila Sabha and also the St. Joseph Degree College, and also the participants from the various states as faculties and also the research scholars and participants. And on behalf of NIMSME, I would like to thank AMS and also the St. Joseph Degree College for inviting us as a resource person, and especially to focusing on the area of MSME. And we have known that MSME sector is the backbone of Indian economy. Not only the Indian economy, all over the countries, MSMEs are very important in all the aspects, because this sector is a labor intensive sector, and which is mostly providing the employment opportunities to nearly, for example, like in India, MSME sector is providing nearly 114 million people employment opportunities, and is contributing nearly 30% of India's GDP, and also it is related to close to half of the country's exports. And when we are seeing the present scenario of COVID-19, this MSME sector is the hardest hit because of this pandemic. And in response to this COVID-19 pandemic, many of our central government and also the RBI has announced various measures to support MSMEs out of the crisis caused by this pandemic. As we are knowing that the RBI has announced like a moratorium on term loans, and it is going for easing of working capital financing, and also it is put up the interest rates on working capital facilities. And additionally, many public sector banks have introduced this emergency credit line, and whereby MSME borrowers can avail a maximum loan up to 200 crores or 10% of their existing working capital limits. And we all know that Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, it has announced a 5% rate concession on all loans to MSMEs. And related to the tax reliefs, like the government has extended the IT and also the GST filing payments to till June 2020. And despite of all these measures, MSME sector right now is facing many challenges in the post-COVID-19. We can say that the government is giving the many measures and RBI are also giving many measures. But coming to the MSME's point of view, when we have seen the basic challenges the MSMEs are facing, we can take the first one will be the cash flows. The cash flow is the biggest challenge for the MSMEs, as we have knowing that there is a huge problem for the liquidity and also the working capital. Not only the regular day-to-day operating business activities, it is also affecting the future investment and also the expansion point of view. In such a case, the government has taken many measures to cope the MSMEs to stand with the scenario. But we have to see that the government is also procuring from the MSMEs and startups, but helping them to be sustained. As you all know, aware that Public Procurement Policy 2015. As per this policy, the government, like every central government and public sector undertakings, they have to procure minimum of 25% of their procurement from the MEC sector, and it is became mandatory from the 1st April 2015 onwards. And one more thing is, out of this 25%, 4% annual procurement should be from the SC/ST entrepreneurs, and 3% out of 25%, these PSUs and central governments, they have to procure from the women entrepreneurs. And especially, if you are registered and with this government e-marketplace like GEM and CPP, the government has given exclusively 358 items that should be procured from the MSME sector only. And if any MSME wants to participate in the tender, so whatever the AMD, like earnest monetary deposit, that should be waived for the registered MSMEs. So in this scenario, MSME should have a knowledge, especially they need to have an awareness, because as they're facing the problems of the working capital and how to sustain, but they need to have an awareness how to get the benefits from the government. That is a major important aspect that MSMEs has to be taken into consideration. Why? Because, so I am saying that the public procurement policy, when we are seeing about how many number of MSMEs, like we are saying that 6,000 MSME products are there, more than 6 lakhs of MSMEs has been there. But how many MSMEs has been registered under this PPP, like public procurement policy? How many MSMEs know about the GEM, government e-marketplace? And like how many MSMEs have been registered in tenders, e-tenders, like central public procurement? So first of all, the MSME should have an awareness about all these facilities, then how to get the benefits from the government point of view from the various reforms. So this is not only the point of how to sustain, this is a point to learn and to improve so that they have to sustain in the present scenario. And we can see the next important challenge the MSMEs are facing, this labor force. As we know that MSME sector, majority of the labor intensive industry, and where we are seeing right now, we have seen that the migrant labor, the people are moving from the urban to rural. Then with the sector is the labor intensive, they're facing a huge problem of these people. Then how they have to complete their production process, because as there is no demand because of decreasing in demand, and in spite of that also how to sustain in the situation. So in that they have to take a call, they have to take some measures that how to be sustained in that particular scenario. So they have to give some special opportunities for their employees to provide the facility within their factories, and they have to provide other benefits to make them workforce in an efficient manner. And we have seen the next factor like supply chain disruption. This pandemic has impacted the supply chain across the globe, not only in India, across the globe, the supply chain has been disturbed. And it is very difficult for the business, especially those business which do not manufacture or providing the essential goods. As we are now seeing that there's a huge demand for the healthcare products. Okay, I was saying that now majority of the people are focusing, diversifying their business to healthcare sector, like producing these sanitizers, PPE kits, and also going for the mask. But those who are the business who are not involved in this essential service and also in the food processing industries, so they have to suffer a lot, that they have to know when the demand will become for the products. And have seen that recently a survey has been conducted by All India Manufacturer Organization. The survey has been revealing that 5,000 MSMEs, about the 5,000 MSMEs, they found that 70% of MSMEs could not pay the salaries to the workers. And also from the report from the countries all over the globe has been revealing that how this business will be able to meet their immediate capital requirement. So once the post-lockdown, the immediate requirement for the government and also the states has to see that there should be a seamless flow of supply, and there should be very important that vendor, they have to ensure the supply so that there should not be any disturbances in the supply chain management. Because of these factors like the liquidity crunch and migrant labors and supply chain disruption, as we have knowing that there is a decrease in the demand, which is leading to production shutdown. And as we seeing the scenario, it is really which has been impacted on the consumer sentiment because of the negative sentiment, and it will be especially impacting on the various consumer related industries, retail and service sectors. And one of the major important factor like exports, I said MSME sector is the sector which is contributing nearly half of the country's GDP, like 45% exports are coming from the MSME sector. But now we are seeing that majority exports will be for the US and UK, Europe. So as we see, these countries have been much affected because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's very difficult for them, for the exporters, those who are exporting the goods to that particular countries. And not only the exporters, the importers also, like as we have seen that majority of the raw materials, they're importing from the China. And due to the pandemic, many of the, it is very difficult for them to procure from the, import from the other countries. Because of that, there is a huge problem regarding the availability of raw material and also the cost. So despite of these challenges, the government has been giving the various measures. But as an MSMEs, because here basically we are focusing on the MSMEs, which is very important at the point, this scenario in pandemic, because this is a sector where we have to push more to sustain and to make our India like our PM Modi's vision of Make in India. That is possible only when we have to support and we have to encourage and we have to give the various major reforms towards the MSMEs. And for the MSMEs in this scenario, they had to focusing on these various major key factors, like whether your business is big or small, you had to go for your business financial assessment, that how much funds are with you. Basing on that, you have to develop nearly next coming 3 to 6 months, what is my next plan. And basing upon your financial assessment, you have to reevaluate your business plan, because as a faculty, many people, we are knowing that depending upon the situation, we have to reframe our strategy. Now, the business should have to reframe the strategy in order to sustain in the present day scenario. And especially where the situation is very difficult for some of the industry, it is very difficult for them to sustain. In such a case, how I have to reevaluate my business plan in order to be stay in the market. And at the same time, the MSMEs has to focusing on the cost consciousness. They have to focusing on the areas where they have to cut down their cost within their units, so that, and not only the cost. And usually as a faculty, we all knowing that, so when the period, when it is going for the credit based, we will have a more number of sales, and the sale turnover will be more, we will get more number of clients. But at the present scenario, MSMEs should have to focus that they have to prefer low margin cash customers over the high margin long-term credit customers. Because this is the situation where we have to see there is a free flow of liquidity. We need to have a free flow of cash movement to make our day-to-day requirements. If we are going for the long credit, it is difficult for the MSMEs to be sustained. And one more important area of key factor, like they have to create a strong digital ecosystem. As we have seen, this scenario has been transformed the MSMEs from the platform like the digital platform. Whether you are a small, whether you are a micro, and whether you are a medium enterprise, you should have a digital presence. Why? Because now it is very difficult for the people, MSMEs, because if, for example, like if I am producing a product, it is very difficult for me to promote my product in the present scenario for going for a physical mode. Instead of that, if you establish your digital platform so that you can showcase your product will be reached to many global clients. So, and one more thing, like when you want to expand the business, like if I'm going for the medium, so if they want to expand the business, like we are having a SME exchange, where you have to list it, not only the BSc and NSC, for the MSMEs. We have a separate national exchange, like a national SME exchange, where they have to be listed and they have to raise the funds through by issuing the shares to the public. So these are all possible only when they have to transform their business from the offline to the online digital mode. And this is also not only when you digitalize it, it will be possible, you have to adopt the technologies, because as our colleague has been suggested that it is the time to go for adopt the new technologies. Basing on that, identifying, we have to take the demand technologies, and like we have seen, we are on the education institutions now, and students, they as a startup, they want to go for grab the opportunity, because I can say there's a lot of challenges for the MSMEs. These challenges are leading to the opportunities. Now there is opportunities for the MSMEs to grab the opportunities where there is a market demand. From the education institutions, now we are seeing that we are moving our classroom sessions from offline to the online. Now a software engineer, they have to develop the various online platform with the various features in order to promote their product and to grab the markets. As we are all knowing in this scenario of like new tax reforms in the economy like GST. Now there is a huge demand for the GST professionals, because MSME will having the lower capital budget and they want to focusing on their business. In such a case, they can't focusing on their tax related matters. But now in the present scenario, they have to, if they are not focusing on that, these matters, they have to face the penalties. So it is the opportunity for the students, the startups, especially for the commerce and management graduates. So they have to grab the opportunity to become the GST professionals. As a software engineers, it is an opportunity for them to develop the new softwares. Because anyway, the pandemic has hurted all the people, but we had to grab the present market opportunity where we can showcase our product and where we can catch the market demand, and so that I can sustain in the market. So, and at the same time also, so I can say that we had to prepare multiple options for your business in future. Because if I'm continuing with one type of the business, if I want to go with that only, if there is no demand, it's ultimately affect on my production business point of view. So keeping in this opportunities market point of view, you have to identify, you have to diversify your business where you have another opportunity, good opportunity, so that I can shift my business from this area to the other area. So this is a point for the MSMEs point of view. And now to sustain this MSMEs, what the government reforms has been focusing to for the sustainable growth, because as the seminar webinar overview point of is how what the reforms for the MSMEs for sustaining their growth. As everyone will know that, and before going to that, I can say there should be an opportunities. As you people are knowing that many of the countries, they want to go move from the China to the other area, other countries where they want to start up their units, where they want to start up their industries. And our government, Prime Minister Modi has been focusing the area of Make in India. That means India should be a manufacturing hub. So instead of depending upon the other country, we had to produce our own products. Like earlier, my colleague has discussed about the concept of one district, one product. Actually, this concept has already is implemented in the small countries like Indonesia. As a visit, we have observed that their government is making mandatory for all their officials to follow, to promote the local products. When you have seen the Indonesian government people, always they wear the batik dress. The batik is their local brand. So to promote the local community, so they are using their particular brands. As we are knowing that Khadi is an Indian national product. Now it is a need for us to promote our national products. So this concept of Make in India and this concept of one district and one product, our Indian government also now focusing on identifying the areas. Like already our NIMSME is going for the area of in Uttar Pradesh, going for one district, one product, going for evaluation. That what are the areas? Already they have identified 72 items. Okay, how this will be worked out and how better we can promote our local products. Promoting the local product will be possible only with the possible participation of the MSMEs. They should have to come up and they should have to give the encouragement, and they should have, not only they should become the entrepreneurs, because as a faculty, we always say our students in the present scenario, you should not be the job seeker, you should be the job creator. We had to create, and at the same time, we had to give the opportunity, employment opportunity to those who are in surrounding area in order to achieve our dream of India should be the manufacturing hub. So to support this MSMEs and in the present COVID-19 scenario, as everyone we are knowing that Prime Minister Modi has been introduced the special economic reforms with the name of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. As everyone will knows about these reforms, but now especially I'll focusing on the MSME reforms. As we are knowing that this is the vision for our Prime Minister to fight against the COVID and to support the not only the one sector, it is for the all the sectors, including the industries, MSMEs, laborers, middle class industries, and among the others. I think the yesterday's session, the participants has know about the overall view of all the reforms. As we knowing that the basic 5 pillars of this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will be the economy, infrastructure, demography, systems, and demand. And the special package of 20 lakh crore, it is yearly equivalent to 10% of India's GDP. When coming to the main objective, if we are going for the MSME reforms, we can understand that the main objective behind this special reforms will be to make India, to make our country towards self-reliant. That means we have to our local products and make them global. So as going for the financial reforms, first of all, many of the people, many of the students or the researchers, they have to know, because we are saying about micro, small and medium enterprise. In India, we are having micro, small and medium enterprise, but in some other countries, they doesn't have the concept of micro. They will go for SMEs, small and medium enterprises. But here we are having the concept of micro, small and medium enterprise. And there's a special definition for the MSMEs as per the MSMED Act of 2006. So now in the pandemic of COVID-19, the government has changed the existing definition of MSMEs to the revised definition. So that means if you are a micro, like in the earlier, if you are, and they have given a classification separately for manufacturing and the services. Coming to the manufacturers, and earlier in the existing classification, MSMEs has defined basing upon their investment in the plant and machinery. If your investment is less than 25 lakhs, you become a micro in case of a manufacturing enterprise. And if your investment is 25 lakhs to 5 crores, it becomes a small enterprise. And if your investment becomes 5 crores to 10 crores, it becomes the medium enterprises. And when coming to the service sector, they have given a separate classification earlier. Like if your investment is less than 10 lakhs, you become a micro. And if it is less than 2 crores, that is 10 lakhs to 2 crores, it becomes a small. And if it is less than 2 crores to 5 crores, it becomes a medium. But now, if my turnover is up to 10 crores, I can get a benefit as an MSME. And one more thing also, people have a query that as an MSME, what benefit should I get if I am registered for MSME? That means if you have an MSME registration, then only you can avail the government benefits. You can avail the benefits in various reforms. You can get the collateral-free loans from the banks on the various institutions under various schemes. And if you want to know about the schemes, there are various MSME schemes are available. So you can identify, as you know, very famous like a Mudra and Credit Guarantee Trust Scheme for the SMEs. So if you want to get a benefit, like my colleague also told about the PMEGP. Like if you want to get the benefit under that particular scheme, you should be an MSME. But right now, the government is giving various reforms for the MSMEs to extend their base. So for that only, along with investment in plant and machinery, they have added the concept of turnover. And you know about the new tax reforms, GST, where we have now differentiation between the goods and services. We are considering only both goods and services, this one category. And the concept same here also, they have removed the differences of the manufacturing and service. And for both manufacturing and service, if your investment is less than 1 crore and your turnover is less than 5 crore, you become the micro. And if your investment is less than 10 crores and your turnover is less than 50 crores, you become a small enterprise. And if your investment in plant and machinery is less than 20 crores and your turnover is less than 100 crores, you become a medium enterprise. The question, the basic objective behind these reforms is to widen the base of MSMEs. That means up to 100 crores of enterprises can avail and get benefit under the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, whatever the reforms that government has been introduced for the MSMEs point of view. And we have seen this is what, like the second one will be the 3 lakh crore collateral free loans for the business, including the MSMEs. I said, if you are an MSME register, if you are come under the definition of MSMEs, you will get a benefit like collateral free automatic loan. Already we have various collateral free loans under Mudra and also in the Credit Guarantee Trust Scheme for MSCs. And they have been here clearly mentioned that those who are the MSMEs who are loans, like their debts up to 25 lakhs, 25 crores, and the turnover is up to 100 crores, they will be covered under this scheme. And there is a 100% guarantee from the central government. And this reform will benefit nearly 40 lakh units, and 45 lakh MSMEs will get benefit from this reform. And here, this loan will be for 4 years and with a moratorium of 12 months. And this collateral-free loan will, like this 3 lakh collateral-free loans will be give the benefit for the MSMEs who are qualifying this criteria. And not only this existing MSMEs, and when related to the stressed MSMEs, like who are the MSMEs who are NPAs or who are facing the problems, stressed MSMEs. But then they have given another reform like 20,000 crores as a subordinate debt, secondary debt for the stressed MSMEs. And because to sustain, to become, they have the equity support. So under this reform, the government will facilitate a provision of 20,000 crores. And under this reform, 2 lakh MSMEs have been get benefited. And especially this reform will be focusing on the MSMEs who are NPAs and also the stressed. And in this, the government is supporting nearly 4,000 crores to CGT MSC. That is a credit guarantee trust scheme for micro and small enterprises. And for the MSMEs prospective, those who want to expansion, and those MSMEs who want to expand in their size and also expand in the capacity, this is a reform that has been focusing for the MSMEs, like they have provided 50,000 crores equity infusion through fund of funds. And especially this reform will focusing on the supporting the MSMEs to get listed in the main boards of stock exchanges, and for expansion, I said they had to listed in the stock markets to raise the funds through the public issues. And especially this equity funding will help the MSMEs for the growth potential and also for the viability point of view. And the most important for considering the point of MSME is like global tenders. As this is a time, as I already said, I told all the people to have an awareness. First of all, they need to have an awareness, like global tenders to be disallowed up to 200 crores. And there is a special benefit for the MSMEs under public procurement policies. So on that, for that only, first of all, you should have to register in government e-marketplace, GEM, and also in the CPP to showcase your product and to reach the market. Because the government is giving the benefit to MSMEs, not only all the MSMEs, Indian MSMEs, because they are disallowing the tenders up to 200 crores. That means whoever required the tender cost of 200 crores, they had to go through only with the Indian companies. So the objective behind this to make India self-reliant, and we had to support our MSMEs, and it will lead to keeping the view of Make in India concept. And other interventions, like as we are seeing that MSMEs, when I'm talking about micro, small and medium enterprise, all over the country, not only in India, everywhere in the globe, basically they are facing the problems of finance and how to access the finance, where should I get the funds, and also how to promote my products. Usually, for example, like a small trader, just when I'm seeing a micro unit, when I'm producing the jute bags at my home. So if I'm manufacturing the jute bags at my home, then how should I go to customers, each and every customer? It is very difficult for me. And I'm coming with a new additional features as we are going for the plastic-free economy, environmental friendly product. Then how should I promote? It is very difficult for me to go and meet each and every customer. I should go for either meeting the wholesaler, either I have to participate in the various trade exhibitions. But if you want to participate at a free of cost in the trade exhibitions, like supported by NSIC, National Small Industry Corporation, that you require MSME registration. That means you should be a registered MSME, then you will have a facility, you will have an opportunity to participate in the trade phase and exhibition. But now in the scenario of COVID pandemic, it is very difficult to go for the exhibitions. For that purpose only, the government is supporting this e-market linkage for the MSMEs to promote their products globally in replacement of trade fairs and also the exhibitions. And the major part of the problem facing with the MSMEs is the delay payments. When central governments and any PSUs, so whoever is procuring the products, so taking the goods from the MSMEs, the major problem is getting the receivables. So keeping the view of the COVID pandemic, the government is strictly instructed that whoever is having the MSMEs receivable from the governments and CPSEs, like central public sector enterprises, it should be released in 45 days. So the government is giving the reforms, the government is introducing the reforms. There is a lot of opportunities, benefits for the MSMEs. Now, it is the ball in the court of the people to grab the opportunity. Because the problems are there, the challenges are there, but at the same time, opportunities are also there in the present day scenario. You have to grab the opportunity to sustain in the market. And they have to focusing on the concept of Make in India initiative by the government, that we have to manufacture products domestically to reduce our imports and to increase our exports, making our Indian product more competitive and globally. And as an IMSME, already my colleague has given a brief about the National Institute for MSME. So I just want to add one point here. It is a time for the researchers, and it is a time for the student community and also the faculty community, especially for the faculty community, to encourage your students, to encourage your scholars to start up their own enterprise, keeping the opportunities in the market. They have to focusing upon the startup their own enterprise. As an IMSME, we are focusing on the entrepreneurship. Here we are conducting the entrepreneurship development program, because if I want to start up my enterprise, it will not be possible for within a day or 2 days or a month or 2 months. We need to have a pre-planned about how to start up my enterprise. What are the schemes? I said various schemes like Mudra, CGT, SME. Sir said about the clusters, PMEGP. So I need to have an understanding about what are the schemes available for me. And I like PMEGP. To get a benefit under the PMEGP, you have to undergo a 15 days EDP program. NIMSME, as a training institute under the Ministry of MSME, we will organize many entrepreneurship development programs for the startups and also the existing entrepreneurs and those who want to start up their enterprises to understand how to start up their business, what are the business opportunities are there in the present day scenario. And right now in the month of June, we are organizing an EDP on healthcare products. You have to utilize the opportunity so that you can understand what business you want to start. Okay, what are the business? I said DPRs. And at NIMSME, we are having the various cells. We are having Entrepreneurship Development Center. It is this one-stop solution for all the queries related to the MSMEs, startups, entrepreneurs. That means if you want to start, if you have an idea to start up your own enterprise, NIMSME will facilitate you, will provide you the information regarding whom you have to approach for the various registration. What is the MSME registration? What is Udyog Aadhar Memorandum, UAM registration? Because now I said it is a various opportunity, but the people also will be there grabbing the opportunity, because UAM, it will be a free of cost. If you approach the NIMSME, we will give you the registration, we will provide you the registration for the UAM, so that you should be a registered MSME to get benefit under the government schemes and also all the reforms and also the bank loans. And we are having the various cells like the GST, Goods and Service Tax cells, especially to provide the services to the MSMEs at subsidized rates. We will provide you the consultancy services also, because whenever any queries related to your related tax filing point of view, the cell will support you in your registrations and also the return filing. And now we are having an IPR cell. When you want to promote your brand, the brand recognition is, brand promotion is very, very important. And at the same time, brand protection is very important. So IPR cell will facilitate you for registering for your trademarks, patents, and copyright services. And through the EDC cell, I can suggest you that if you are having an idea to start up your own enterprise, the cell will guide you on the various MSME schemes and what is the support from the government and the various registrations, and also the most important like the DPR, project reports. Because I said you will have a collateral free loans to approach banks under the scheme. But when your project report is feasible, when your project report is convince the banker that he has a confidence that if I'm giving a loan to the particular borrower, I have a confidence that I'll get back my interest and the principal amount. Because the government is giving the moratorium and he's deferring the payments, interest payments. But ultimately, after the period, you have to pay the interest and you have to proceed your business point of view. So your DPR should be viable in financial, technical, marketing, and all the aspects. NIMSME will guide you in all the aspects, which is very important for the entrepreneurship. And you can also go through our website. We are having a national executive calendar where we have to focusing on many programs for capacity building for the entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs, and also for the startups. Those what I said now, GEM, government e-marketplace, how to register in GEM, what are the documents are required, how to proceed, and how to go for filing the tender, how to go for BOQ filing, how to prepare the BOQ document. These are all the basic knowledge is required for the entrepreneurs to be listed in the GEM portal. So our capacity building programs and our training programs will enhance your skills and will facilitate you and will help you in developing your entrepreneurship skills. It's help for the faculty to encourage your students to enter into the entrepreneurship, and also it's help for the students to grab the market opportunity and to become the job creators, and also for the researchers, because as my colleague has suggested that clusters are the area where there is a huge requirement for the experts to identify the hopes and to identify the areas. So you have to grab the opportunities and you have to utilize the training programs to enhance your entrepreneurial skills and to support your students community in the present day scenario. Okay, and finally I can close with one conclusion, that SMEs who are proactive or respond fast, they will only win in the present day scenario. One of the author, like Andy said, Gross said, only the paranoid will be survived. The business which can think and act with speed will survive better. So it is the time for you people to run, act, and sustain. So with this, I would like to close my session. I would like to thank AMS and also the hosting institution, St. Joseph Degree College, for giving us the opportunity, sharing our views, because as a training institutes, we are reaching the entrepreneurs, officials, executives. But many of the participants, those who are attending this program, they doesn't have an idea about NIMSME. But our national institute is having a global presence, because right now we have trained more than 10,000 international executives in the area of entrepreneurship, clusters, and also in the area of finance, marketing, and all the areas. So I request all the participants, you go through the NIMSME website, where you will get all the information about upcoming our training programs. And to make you be comfortable and to grab the opportunity, we are providing this time online training programs to enhance your skills and to be utilize opportunity. And thank you once again. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Vijaya. Am I audible?
Yeah.
This is Radha Kesani, Assistant Professor of St. Joseph's Degree College. I'm glad that Dr. Vijaya, Administrative Manager of NIMSME, who is one of the resource persons in today's session, was my student in degree. Congratulations, Dr. Vijaya. I'm happy to share this session with you. Shall we proceed for question and answer session?
Sure, madam. Please.
Yeah. There's a question from one of the participants, Mr. Shravan Kumar. What is the procedure for NIMSME to impart training to the students?
So here we are having a various entrepreneurship development programs. Okay, we are having a very ministry sponsored programs will be there. Skill development programs will be there. So you just go through the NIMSME website, where it will be you in the present scrolling what are the programs will be taking place. You have to register in the programs, and we are having the free programs and also the paid programs for entrepreneurship development, also the skill training programs. So you just go through the link and you just open the brochure. You will get all the information regarding the program registration. And for a student point of view, if you want to learn any skill related activities, you can visit our campus, NIMSME, Hyderabad. It is located at Yusuf Gudaniali check post. So we are having the EDC cell, Entrepreneurship Development Center, which will guide you that what will be the best opportunity that you have to grab the opportunity in the present scenario.
Thank you, Vijay. There is one more question from Mr. Pradeep. How MSMEs will lure back the labor, especially in southern states?
Thank you, ma'am, once again.
Yeah. How MSMEs will lure back the labor who have been to their rural areas, especially in south? How to get back the migrant labor?
Yeah. I can.
Yeah. Yes, today MSMEs are facing problem because most of the laborers, migrants, they left that particular place and returned to their native place, and SMEs are facing a lot of problem. But it is a time, as my colleague mentioned, it is an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to create new manpower as per the requirement. And at the same time, most of the locations, there may be some people left the particular place, but from nearby place they can source my experienced people who can utilize their services. So if you take an example of maybe Kerala or Tamil Nadu, most of the workers from Jharkhand and Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, they return back. But at the same time, the most of the local resources, local laborers, now the government has taken initiative to import skills for the local available workforce and utilize their services. So it is a continuation process. Even if you have migrant laborers, there is time to time, there is a lot of challenges for MSMEs. Some people, once they get experience, they used to left and go to the other organization. So it is a continuation problem for MSMEs. This is one of the situations. Yes, I do agree, because of this COVID we have problem. But at the same time, if you see the earlier days also, most of the times MSMEs were facing problem because of skilled manpower. So we must have both the strategies. We have to see that we use the currently available skilled labor, and at the same time identify new people and impart skills and see that they'll be with us.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question from the same participant. What should be the strategy of MSME sector for amending the labor laws to promote the labor of South Indian states? I'll repeat the question, sir. What should be the strategy of MSME sector for amending the labor laws to promote the labor of especially the South Indian states?
Yeah, see, it is a national problem, right? National problem. But if you want to see strategy, as the government of India is taking lots of initiatives on skills. First of all, apart from the labor laws, okay, we must focus upon skills, because MSMEs are facing problem because of lack of skills of the workforce, not for want of other reasons. So that is a major challenge. Skill is a major challenge. So for which MSMEs and government have to work together to identify the problems of the laborers and also MSMEs. And based on that, we have to take initiatives. Suppose if I'm the worker and I want to improve myself, so if I go for a training, so I'll not have any income for my family. So that is a problem for me. So I don't want to go leaving my current particular job. So government and MSMEs have to work. What are the challenges for the industry and also workforce? And we have to design in such a way that will impart skills for the laborers, and also they'll get some income during that particular period of time. And apart from that, so sometimes they are working hard, but sometimes people say we are not getting sufficient returns or income, right? But MSME says we are providing enough money, but in spite of that, we are facing challenges and we are not getting profits. So it is both the sides, there are the challenges, right? So we have to understand actually what best can be done for the benefit of MSMEs as well as a workforce, right? So if we import skills for the workforce, and if you work on quality and productivity, naturally the income level of the industry will go up. At that point of time, entrepreneurs will be happy to pay additional funds. I'll give one example. In one of the cluster in Tamil Nadu, I didn't remember. So the particular cluster management, they have identified some skilled laborers and imported skills and to take their services to operate iron machines. So by which the workforce were happy. At the same time, entrepreneurs got good returns from the business. So that is how we have to see the certain mechanisms for win-win situation. But I don't want to focus on other areas, maybe other challenges related to loss.
Okay, so thank you so much. And there's one more question from one participant, Usha Rani. If we create digital ecosystem in local, can we call our rural and tribal community as digitally improved society? If we create digital ecosystem in local, can we call our rural and tribal community as digitally improved society?
And why not, madam? Definitely. See, I'll give you one best example. So we were working with one of the nearby handloom cluster, where people produce ikat handloom sarees, Pochampalli, near Pochampalli, right? So the artisans were always coming to Hyderabad and selling through the wholesalers and distributors with large, what I can say, players. But we have imported skills with the support of one of the IT industry to design their products, how to upload onto the website, on the dynamic website, and how to change the price, and how to reach their clients, how to send their product, and which will help their income levels. So within weekdays, 2 to 3 young weavers, they started doing business online. And today, most of the people, and I'll give you another best example from Uttar Pradesh. We were implemented another cluster. Today, everybody knows about the Banaras sarees, right? Varanasi. Near that particular place, there is a place called Mubarakpur. So people manufacture lots of Banaras sarees over there. So they were having crisis, and they were unable to understand what is the taste of people from South India and also North India. So when they have participated in national exhibitions at different parts of the country, they understood the mindset and requirements and taste of the customers. And afterwards, they started working through social media. They have Facebook today, and through the social media, they're not coming to any other states now, sitting at Barabanki and selling across the country.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Well, there's one more query. Is it the right time to handle challenges in MSME and secondary sector reforms like APMC?
Can you repeat, ma'am?
Is it the right? Shall I repeat, sir?
Yeah, please.
Is it the right time to handle challenges in MSME and secondary sector reforms like APMC, etc.?
Yes, it is the right time, madam. Actually, if we see in the recent comments from our minister Nitin Gadkari, we want to focus a lot on agripreneurship, and clearly it is informed saying that we want to take up agriculture-based clusters also. And Ministry of Food Processing has introduced several schemes, because if you see in most of the times farmers, from farm to fork, if you see the entire value chain, because most of the times, because of storage facility and transportation challenges, they're incurring loss, right? And especially we can see several cases related to chili and onions, and also vegetables. So through this particular concept, so maybe farmers producer groups, through Ministry of Agriculture, or through cluster development intervention from government, Ministry of MSME. So we are taking enough steps to support farmers to go for value addition. So once you go for value addition, naturally lifetime will increase, and you'll be the losses will be less. And unless otherwise you add value, there is no price for you to improve your profits also. So this is the right time for the farmers and also prospective entrepreneurs to give more focus on food processing industries. And as well, because of COVID, there's a lot of scope for herbal clusters also across the country. So if you take example in Kerala, Thrissur is known for herbals, and Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, right? And Padubidri near Karnataka, Udupi, there are several pockets are there where you will get lots of medicinal plants. And Department of Ayush, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy, they're also taking interventions for capacity building of tribal communities and also prospective entrepreneurs and Ayurvedic doctors to take up entrepreneurship and to develop herbal products. So this is the right time for people and MSME sector to intervene and focus on agro-based enterprises and clusters. And I'll tell you one thing, in especially in agro processing, a small farmer, if he or she wants to go for value addition, sometimes creating infrastructure, especially for processing and storage, the cost will go up. So this is the right time to join hands. So grow together, form a group, reduce your cost and get more business. And because if you want to focus on exports, small volume doesn't work. So you need huge volumes. So when you work in a group, naturally you can come out of that particular challenge. And another thing is, once you have in a group, it is easy to reach not only market, and also you can take more risk. That is another advantage. And I'll give you a last one example. In Uttar Pradesh, there is a place called Bareilly, and farmers produce lots of mint, and they were producing and processing and selling processed oil, mint oil in the market. But afterwards, they started thinking, why can't we go for crystallization? Next stage of value addition. And accordingly, they have formed a group and they're doing well. So what I want to suggest is farmers who are working in isolation, better to work as a group and create infrastructure, maybe for value addition, maybe for storage, maybe for marketing. So common procurement, common production, and common marketing. So this is the best way for the farmer community to improve their income levels.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question. What will happen to the people engaged in restaurants? How they can revive?
Yeah. See, as I mentioned, it is really a challenge for workers who are working in restaurants, but today it is also an opportunity. So I'll give you the other day, if you see in South India, people like to have masala tea prepared by Rajasthani and other communities, right? Similarly, if you go to other places, the people like South Indian dishes like idli, sambar, vada, right? So though at the national level, everybody knows about all these products, but the skill of the particular person who prepares it properly, the taste will be different and customers likes it, right? So restaurant people who are working in the restaurants, they may take right time, right place, and they can start a micro enterprise. So once we have observed at Maharashtra, Maharaja the Shivaji Fort, the women from the rural area, they were started supplying traditional dish. So jawar roti and sabji. So there was a lot of demand for the product. So similarly, the workers, they may not be supposed to sell in large quantities, but even if they start selling, because everywhere, even today, there is a social distance, there is a challenge, right? So in the localized particular location, if they identify their uniqueness, their skill, based on that, if they start some activity, definitely they can earn better money than previous. But if we have large number of people at one place, so we have to think, we have to work again, not only with the hotel industry, but also tourism industry. And we have to take some initiatives where, as I mentioned at the beginning, social enterprises and social entrepreneurs plays vital role.
Oh, thank you, sir. There's one question to Dr. Vijaya. as you have mentioned, ma'am, that the country is focusing more on the exports to other countries,
Yeah,
then the GDP of that country should improve. But we see there is a decline in GDP. Can you please throw light on that?
yeah. Here I can add the point like GDP is we are considering in the all the goods and services that has been produced and taken place in a particular country. Right now in the scenario we have seen that because of the COVID pandemic, how our the huge recession has been taken in our economic activities. The lot of fund deficit will be there because as we are seeing that last 2 months onwards we are in the lockdown situation. All the economic activities has been stopped. There is no production, so in such a case, it will be having a huge impact on our GDP. Now here I can add one point for the MSME's point of view. I said this MSME sector is the major sector which is having a nearly 50% contribution in terms of exports. So here I can say because not only when I'm talking about the exports, the countries where we are exporting also have more affected than compared to India. When we have seen the COVID cases in UK and US, so those are the major countries who have been got affected heavy. So this is a situation right now we are saying that challenges will be there, but we have to sustain and we have to diversify in the areas and this should be a time that we have to see and anyway we can say not only the exports, all the production when we are seeing the GDP contribution from the manufacturing sector, industrial sector, everywhere we are seeing how the automobile sector got affected. So there is no customers during the period, there is no client for their products, how the various sector, all the industry got affected. So this pandemic is not only having the impact on the MSMEs, all over the industries got affected. So it will be take time for the economy to boost and also to improve the GDP levels. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Vijaya. Yeah, I think we can close the question and answer session. And all the participants are very happy with the informative session. Thank you, Surya Prakash sir, and thank you, Dr. Vijaya, for the informative session and throwing light on working of NIMSME and the various government schemes for MSME. And thank you, both of you, for clarifying the doubts of the participants patiently. Thank you, sir. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Over to Ritika.
Thank you, Radha ma'am. A learning curve is essential to growth, while gratitude is the open door to all abundance. And no duty is more important than returning the thanks. Over to Mrs. Savita ma'am to give away the vote of thanks.
Gratitude makes sense of your past, brings peace for today, and creates vision for tomorrow. On the behalf of St. Joseph Degree and PG College, I would like to propose a vote of thanks to each and every person who has contributed for success for today's national webinar. At the outset, I would like to thank our principal, Reverend Father K. Marreddy, for his continuous support and encouragement. I also thank the convener of the conference, Professor Usha Ma'am, Chairman, Andhra Mahila Sabha, College of Arts and Science, Dr. N. Srilata Ma'am, HOD, Commerce Department, St. Joseph Degree and PG College, Dr. Sandeep Bhatnagar, Director, Marketing, NIMSME. I would like to place on record my deep sense of gratitude to our resource persons, Mr. K. Surya Prakash Gaur and Dr. Vijaya, accepting our invitation and enlightened us with a revised definition of MSME. Lastly, but not the least, I would like to thank our anchor, Ms. Milsi Mona, our moderator, Mr. Vasant Vikas, Sir, Mrs. Radha Madam for question and answer session, and Mrs. Ritika Wagre for registration and feedbacks of the session. I warmly thank all the faculty members, Department of Commerce, St. Joseph Degree and PG College for their continuous support during the webinar. And most importantly, I would like to thank all the participants who have come from different parts of India to attend our webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Dr. B.R. Ambedkar once rightly said, "We are Indians firstly and lastly." On this note, we are going to end today's session and we'll await for tomorrow's session, the day 3 webinar. Thank you all. The feedback link is on the chat box. You can fill in the feedback forms before 3 o'clock today. I repeat, you can fill in the feedback forms before 3 o'clock today. Thank you.